And welcome back, everybody. Hey, you know, on October the 28th, the Women's Empowerment Self-Defense Academy, they're going to host a free workshop in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And joining us to share what we can expect is President Stephanie Pryor. We welcome you.
Hi, Bob.
You're not related to...
Well, I don't know. My father said it was some distant relationship. It didn't net me anything.
So you have this wonderful organization, WESDA.
Yes.
WESDA, what does it stand for?
Women's Empowerment Self-Defense Academy. We have actually been in business since 1981, but we became a 501c3 nonprofit tax-exempt charitable organization in 2009. And actually the reason for that was we wanted to reach a broader spectrum of clientele and to get it out there because the Bronx has the highest rate of domestic violence. Not just domestic violence, but almost any violent crime committed against women and children of the 5 boroughs.
And a lot of times it's happening and we don't know anything about it because the people that it's happening to, they don't say anything.
Right. And that's really the big problem. And that really kind of curtails the solution because people don't want to talk about it for many reasons. Some of it's just, plain embarrassment. A lot of it could be financial. It's just a lot of things. There's no easy answer. But I think that when people say, how do we get rid of domestic violence or how do we stop domestic violence, that it all starts with self-awareness. And that goes for the victim and the victimizer. There's just so much going on in a victimizer's head that they don't even realize many times or recognize their own behavior and that something's wrong with their own behavior.
So it seems like it's normal.
Yes.
This is normal everyday life.
And for them, it probably is because many of them come from homes where they were either witnesses to abuse or victims of abuse. And so they perpetrate the same thing on, and that's the cycle that we're talking about, which seems to be becoming younger and younger now. As if you turn on the news, it's little children that are abusive. It's just, it's really a problem. It's out of control.
You don't necessarily have to see the abuse in a person. You can work with a person or go to school with a person every day, and that person can be they can be abused every day and you don't even know.
Right.
Because maybe the bruises are underneath the clothing.
And not all abuse is physical.
That's right. You
not all abuse. Psychological abuse, the question comes is, what's worse? Is it worse to be physically abused or worse to be mentally abused? And, mental abuse has ramifications that last way longer than physical abuse. Physical abuse, if you're not maimed, you'll heal. And then you won't see it until the next time. So it's rough.
What do you tell a person that's in that situation, that's being abused every day?
Well, I think that what's important, especially and we focus more on women, not to say that men don't get abused, because they do. But
yes, they do.
I'm going to say women because women are the larger percentage. That when you speak to a woman that is in a domestic violence situation, she's coming for help. You hope that she's ready to receive help because many times they come and they need to talk. They're not ready to, your first impulse is to tell them, get out, leave. And it may not be that simple. And they're not going to just do that. They're not ready many times to do that. So it's really a matter of giving them information. Here is where you can go. Can I help you? Do you need me to make a call for you? Even if they come and sit with you for a while and come back, and if you can get them to keep coming back until you can make them feel confident enough to go and take the next step. In the meantime, you want to have them get a safety plan in place. Start working on your safety plan. Important documents. Find a family member or a close friend that you know that you will be able to get to when the time comes. Just little things. It's like baby steps.
Yeah, and while you're talking, I'm thinking of a situation that this happened to a guy. His wife was abusing him. And I said, wow. I said, come on. He said, no, I need your help, Bob. I need your help. What do I do? I said, are you really serious? Because, we see it as another way. We see it as women being abused, but not guys.
Right.
So I told him, I said, why don't you document it? Go to the authorities and, let them know that this is happening. so that if you go to authorities, you know you're not going to do anything to counter that because you put something in place.
Right, right. And
So
it's
I met up with
absolutely
him.
important because the CDC did a survey in 2010 and found that 40% of domestic violence victims were men.
Yeah.
But much of it is unreported because society-wise, you know, all the funding and programs are set up for women because women are the larger percentage, and that's what you hear about, and we're considered the weaker sex. So, you know, that's the way it
all
goes. So
guys
when a
get beat
guy
up, too.
comes and says, my wife is abusing me, people are like, come on.
So I met up with him again. I was in one of the jails doing a talk. He says,
And
I told you, Bob, I needed your help. And I said, well, what are you talking about? And he reminded me of that time.
Right.
I said, well, didn't you do the things? He said, I had to go in. And he did something that he didn't want to do that landed him in jail. But he was the
It's-
one being
yes,
abused.
but
he got locked up for the abuse.
And you know what's interesting about that is lots of times the way the laws are set up, even for women, which there are progress is being made, but lots of times when they take a violent recourse, so to speak,
Yeah.
and end up maiming or killing the attacker, a lot of times they end up in jail because they're presented as, you know, you didn't have to do that. You could have done something else. You didn't have to fight back. And we have to fight back.
And who knows what's going on in the minds of people who are either bullies or abusing people. You know, they could have had a rough past.
Yes.
They could have grown up like that. You know, this is what I know. This is what I'm conditioned to believe is right. You know, so we
Yes.
have to find a way to get that out of them. They need to come forward.
Absolutely.
So reach out to the people who are abusing also.
Yes, there are actually programs. There are programs where abusers can go, especially men, can go and learn. But see, the problem is, it's almost like if a program is instituted in a facility like a prison, then you know you have to go, and you can't go anywhere else. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Very few people who are abusers are going to say, well, I'm an abuser, because it's like being having a drug problem and you're not ready to admit that you have a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So an abuser,
And you don't want
many
anybody
times,
to know. So you're like,
exactly.
they won't know that I'm abusing
You know,
people.
it's everybody else's fault. Well, the only reason I did that was because you did. You know, it's not a personal, or I have a problem thing. It's you have a problem.
Yeah.
And I simply reacted to it.
So I think you're doing a wonderful thing, exposing and helping people who have these situations. What are some of the other services that you offer?
Well, actually, we do programs for a wide spectrum. We do Be a Safe Kid programs for children, teaching them, you know, about good touch, bad touch, stranger danger, you know, who to tell, what to tell, and things like that. We do a Teen Talk program. We do a SLINK program, SLINK standing for Seniors Let In-House Neighbors Know When You Come and Go. And so it's a whole program for seniors. And of course, women's self-defense. We do self-defense for LGBT, and it's not.
You mean
we do
physical
physical.
self-defense? Whoa,
Yeah, we do
whoa.
physical self-defense. But I
Like
need
Tracy
everyone to
Knott.
understand that what happens is people
Go ahead.
people think that physical self-defense is what you mean when you say self-defense, and it's really, we focus on prevention, empowerment, and prevention.
You can do that with words also. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And our program is empowerment first.
Yes.
Because really, Bob, I could teach you every self-defense technique in the universe. But if you are not empowered and you don't have the confidence that you need in yourself, or the self-respect, the self-confidence, and self-worth, you're not going to use those techniques. You're not going to think they're going to work when it comes that time.
So you got to get your mind right.
Absolutely.
Steve Harvey says that too. All right, tell us about what's happening on the 28th and walk us through. I know you're going to have some workshops and all that stuff. Walk us
Well,
through.
tomorrow we're doing a 2-hour workshop, free workshop, in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We have a police officer coming in from the Community Affairs Office, the Bronx Outreach Unit, that's going to speak. And then we're going to do part of our empowerment program, and we're going to do some physical self-defense, some few techniques, and talk about some things that you can do to get away from an attacker.
Yeah.
But again, that's the last resort. I don't want, a lot of times people think, oh, that's too violent, you're violent. But my question is, when you are confronted with violence and no other option, what do you do?
Fight violence with violence?
It's not so much fight violence with violence, but you have to be able to defend yourself.
Right.
It's not, I'm not saying attack the person and maim them and stand over them and taunt them. I'm saying
fight and
do
flight.
what you can do to take flight. That's right.
Yeah.
So that you can be safe. Women have that right to be safe.
Where can we reach you for more information?
Well, we can be reached at 347-810-7330 or on our website, WESDAonline.org.
It was lovely chatting with you. Thank you so
Bob,
much.
for having me.
Give her a big hand, everybody. Stephanie Pryor, President, WESDA. WESDA.com.
org. I'm sorry. WESDA Online.
See, we're so used to saying .com.
Yes. WESDA Online.
WESDA.org.
WESDAonline.org.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, we got to take a quick break right here, but coming up, we'll learn about a project keeping community blossoming. We're going to keep you blooming and blossoming. Coming up next.